Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we dive into Opening Up, a book that challenges traditional notions of relationships and gives voice to the multifaceted world of non-monogamous partnerships. Author Tristan Taormino, a renowned feminist writer, sex educator, and activist with a rich history of influential works, including the award-winning The Ultimate Guide to Anal Sex for Women, guides readers through the varied landscapes of love that extend beyond the monogamous paradigm. Opening Up advocates for the exploration of personal desires within the context of ethical and consensual frameworks, arguing that such explorations can lead to enormous personal growth, fulfillment, and improved communication skills. Taormino offers insightful analysis, research, and real-life examples that illuminate the process of opening up relationships, the joys and challenges it brings, and the profound impact it can have on all involved. This book will resonate with anyone who seeks a deeper understanding of their own relationship dynamics, regardless of their current relationship structure. It serves as a valuable resource for open-minded individuals desiring to communicate more honestly about their needs, couples interested in exploring new avenues of intimacy and connection, and people on a journey of self-discovery within their sexual lives. Join us as we summarize the key insights and lessons from Opening Up and consider how they might apply to your own experiences and relationships. Opening Up, a guide to creating and sustaining open relationships. Introduction. Discover the key to unraveling deeper connections in your love life. Do you find yourself yearning for something more in your relationship that remains elusive no matter how hard you try to grasp it? Perhaps you are constantly battling the urge to step outside your exclusive partnership. This struggle might suggest that the traditional path of monogamy isn't the best route for you. From our earliest moments, society spins tales of finding the one and sealing the deal with an everlasting bond. Yet the rising tide of divorces paints a starkly different picture, implying that the journey of monogamy is fraught with challenges. Let's face it, expecting a single individual to satisfy every facet of our complex desires is a colossal task. Relationships, when burdened by such colossal expectations, often crumble. By considering the idea of open relationships, we invite the opportunity to explore our needs and wants more freely. But it's not just about physical exploration. It's a deeper dive into our own vulnerabilities. By opening up, we initiate dialogues built on trust, tearing down the walls of trepidation and possessiveness that so often confine us. In this narrative journey, we'll explore why open relationships are more conversation-centric than you might think, how to navigate the challenging waves of jealousy, and the delicate art of balancing personal truth with family dynamics. Part 1. Exploring the myth of the all-fulfilling soulmate. Imagine a world where every fairy tale comes true, where the idea of meeting your destined soulmate not only shapes your dreams, but dictates your future. You're taught that this person will be your rock, sharing your passions, helping raise your children, and ultimately becoming your confidant. Yet, shockingly, we watch as many such unions fall apart. The incredible weight of such expectancy can be suffocating for a single individual. The key insight here is, it's a myth that one person can fulfill all our needs and desires. One of society's most tenacious beliefs about relationships is that finding our significant other will eliminate any future desires for intimacy with anyone else. However, this notion fails to account for the fluidity of human sexuality. Just think about it. Our sexual preferences evolve, and circumstances like mental health can alter our desires considerably. Staying true to traditional monogamy often results in feelings of guilt over natural attractions to others, leading to suppression or infidelity. A staggering 2007 poll unveiled that among 70,000 respondents, half had strayed from their partners. Infidelity, just like withholding one's true feelings, is a relationship minefield. Thankfully, we're not confined to such narrow paths. Recognizing that it's unrealistic to expect a partner to fulfill every need is the first step in reshaping our relationships. Acknowledging our attractions to others and the sometimes inherent dissatisfaction in our relationships is liberating. From this point of honesty, the crossroads appear. Actively choose monogamy with a clear, pragmatic outlook or broach the topic of embracing an open relationship. Whichever way you lean, armed with realistic expectations, you can graft a relationship that resonates not with a mythical story, but one that's genuinely crafted to suit who you are. Part 2. Discover the diverse world of non-monogamous relationships. Envision a scenario where your partner confesses to having a desire that makes you uncomfortable. For instance, a foot fetish that you find utterly off-putting. Faced with the discrepancy of your desires, what route do you take? For those venturing into non-monogamy, this conundrum often leads to embracing the concept of casual relationships. This means allowing your partner the freedom to connect with others who share their specific interests, resulting in experiences that are satisfying without entwining you in the equation. Here's the essential takeaway. Non-monogamous relationships come in many forms. While such casual encounters might hold an emotional element, generally, they don't blossom into deeper, long-term commitments. In contrast, polyamorous relationships are characterized by multiple loving and committed partnerships that extend well beyond the realm of the physical. Polyamory adopts various shapes and structures. Some duos might maintain a primary partnership while having secondary relationships on the side. Others dismiss the idea of hierarchical structuring altogether, opting instead for equal multi-person connections with no single relationship taking precedence. There are those who practice polyfidelity, committing to exclusive relationships with several people at once. The Carista commune in San Francisco is a historical example of this model. Alternatively, the realm of polyamory can include triads or quads, where 3 or 4 individuals form a relationship that may be either closed or open to external connections. Choosing the right form of non-monogamy for you hinges on personal preferences. Do you long for casual adventures, or are deep emotional bonds with multiple people more your style? Would you consider cohabiting with several partners, or do you value your own space? Pondering these questions calls for introspection and, as we'll soon explore, successful non-monogamous relationships demand profound self-awareness and exceptional communication skills. Part 3. The Art of Communication in the Landscape of Non-Monogamy. For the uninitiated, non-monogamy might conjure up images of libidinous escapades and wild social gatherings, but the somewhat less exciting reality often involves deep discussions about emotions, expectations, and schedules. It's essential to realize that non-monogamy, with its infinite variations, demands excellent communication, without which any relationship structure is liable to come undone. Here's the core idea. Non-monogamy only works if you have incredibly good communication skills. In deciding to open up a formerly exclusive relationship, couples face the need for candid dialogue to establish the boundaries of their new dynamic. What's permissible? Where do the lines draw? Casual flings or committed additional relationships, are there spaces and social circles that remain unaffected by this new arrangement? These queries need answering with honesty and clarity. True, navigating these dialogues can be a minefield, yet they're foundational to the growth and evolution of the relationship. As you progress, it becomes critical to continually check in with all parties involved. The success of non-monogamous relationships isn't measured by how little you talk about difficult things, but by how effectively you communicate about the nuances of your individual experiences and needs. This constant conversation might seem daunting. After all, repeating it with each new or existing partner requires time and emotional energy. The silver lining is that this open channel of communication fosters a powerful sense of trust and a rock-solid foundation for the relationship. Sure, penciling in time on a shared calendar or allocating chores may not scream romance, but such transparency can pave the way to incredibly fulfilling relationships filled with trust, allowing the freedom and joy to truly flourish. Contrary to the belief that non-monogamous relationships are lacking in commitment, the reality is often the opposite, devoid of traditional legal commitments. The dedication in these connections comes through the concerted effort and resolve of those involved. To navigate this multifaceted relational terrain, partners must develop keen self-awareness and master the art of conversation, ensuring every voice is heard and every heart's needs are acknowledged. Part 4. Setting and honoring agreements is the backbone of non-monogamy. Crafting a solid foundation for non-monogamous relationship structures is akin to drafting a masterful concord among all parties. These covenants articulate boundaries regarding relationship types, time allocation with various partners, and safe sex protocols, both within the primary partnership and beyond. The sanctity of these agreements cannot be understated. Each individual invests emotional energy into sculpting and consenting to these limitations, which imbues them with significant weight. They serve as a testament to the vulnerability and effort required to declare and understand personal desires and needs. Thus, any breach of these terms can be deeply wounding, almost akin to the deceit of infidelity in monogamous contexts. Here lies the vital principle. Agreements are sacred in non-monogamous relationships. Picture, for instance, your consensus allows only for relations with strangers, but your spouse engages with a close friend instead. Or contemplate the shattering of trust when one partner in a triad forsakes safe sex practices, endangering everyone's health. Such violations can corrode the trust you've built, demanding a laborious process of introspection and restoration. It raises questions about the transgressor's integrity and future dependability within the relationship. Not all breaches arise from bad faith. Sometimes they stem from a genuine misapprehension. Maybe there's an inconsistency in interpreting what constitutes a date. One might see a lunch with someone as innocuous, while the other could view it as a romantic liaison. Being explicitly clear about the nuances of your permissions can help dodge such misjudgments. At other times, unforeseen emotions can override these agreements. Your partner might unintentionally fall in love during what was meant to be a casual encounter, prompting a ripple of change across your joint connections. Or maybe an awakening occurs, revealing attractions you hadn't anticipated and necessitating a re-examination of the established terms. The fluidity of our emotions and identities means that the dynamics of an open relationship can shift in unforeseen ways. However, by continually engaging in respectful dialogue around your agreements and embracing the changes that come, partners can learn to gracefully dance through the ebbs and flows of a nuanced and dynamic relationship landscape. Part 5. Navigating the waves of jealousy in non-monogamous waters. Picture yourself sinking into the couch, clad in the comfort of a worn t-shirt after a taxing day, yearning for the solace of your partner's embrace. But then they glide in, glamorous and gleaming with anticipation for an evening with someone new. A pang of exclusion strikes, and the green-eyed monster of jealousy awakens. Whether in monogamous or non-monogamous relationships, the specter of jealousy is familiar. In monogamous dynamics, we've been conditioned to see jealousy as a testament to our affection, but this perspective doesn't simply dissipate when we adopt non-monogamy. The key insight here is, to thrive in non-monogamous relationships, you must learn how to deal with jealousy. No matter how open-minded you feel about your partner's romantic escapades, the emotional reality can unleash storms of jealousy. Perhaps you're envious of the sheer number of your partner's other amorous adventures. Or maybe it's the intensity of those secondary relations that stokes the flames of resentment. At the core of these jealous outbursts is often a seed of insecurity about one's own worth or the solidity of the primary relationship. Such vulnerability can give rise to an intense urge to monopolize your partner's affection. These emotional eruptions can be disturbing, yet they can also be gateways to bolstering your self-confidence and deepening your relationship. The first step is to acknowledge the jealousy without judgment. Emotions don't have to be reasonable to be valid. Delve into what sparks those feelings. Is it a sense of neglect? Or perhaps a fear that you're not cherished enough by your partner? Lean on the support of trusted friends or seek a therapist's guidance to gain perspective and find comfort. Once the turbulent emotions settle, consider the action needed to nurture your well being. Is it self care or do you need an earnest discussion with your partner? Jealousy, though often uncomfortable, serves as an integral signpost, directing us to recognize our needs and set our boundaries. Acknowledging and managing it can chart a course towards more resilient and empathetic relationships. Part 6. Compersion, the unexpected joy in your partner's happiness. Let's imagine a scenario. You're at home, comfortably draped in your favorite shirt, the one that's seen better days. Your partner is enjoying a night out on a date, a scenario that would typically send you down a rabbit hole of jealousy. But this time, as images of their laughter and flirtatious exchanges fill your mind, you're struck by a completely different emotion. A wave of happiness on their behalf washes over you. This sense of delight at your partner's joy is known as compersion. It's a transformative feeling where your partner's romantic ventures are perceived not as a loss to you, but as enriching additions to your collective happiness. Here's an enlightening insight. Compersion is the best part of non-monogamous relationships. Compersion can be both a matter of the heart and the senses. Some find a thrill in the actual sight of their partners in intimate moments with others, with group encounters or in swingers settings fueling their own passion. For others, the mere idea of their partner in a romantic encounter elsewhere is enough to ignite enthusiasm. Yet, compersion transcends mere physical arousal. It's about a shared joy in your partner's heightened life experiences, a symbiotic pleasure that is nurturing for both of you. In the context of a society often marked by individualism and rivalry, the concept of compersion might not seem intuitive. We're frequently programmed to focus on potential losses instead of potential gains. But the beauty lies in the potential to cultivate compersion. By challenging deep-seated reactions like jealousy and possessiveness, you create the opportunity to embrace a perspective centered on love and strength. Compersion fosters a sense of empowerment, enabling love to triumph over fear. It's a revelation that many have found. Opening your relationship tends to reinforce the primary bond. There's an increased awareness of each other, a commitment to articulate desires and share moments, reflecting the vigor and self-assurance gleaned from embracing a wider romantic world. At its essence, compersion is an expression of profound generosity. By encouraging your partner's explorations, you are offering the gifts of trust and freedom, with the affirmation that your bond is secure enough to not rely on restraint. It's a testament to the belief that love doesn't diminish when shared, it multiplies. Part 7. The challenges of societal judgment for non-monogamous relationships. For those who have stepped outside the bounds of monogamy, one of the most daunting moments can be revealing this aspect of their life to loved ones. While society has become more embracing of LGBTQ+ relationships, there is still a prevalent expectation that they will adhere to traditional monogamous models. The mere presence of multiple partners can unsettle those who are only familiar with non-monogamy through media portrayals or narrow definitions. Furthermore, open relationships can unintentionally provoke a defense of monogamy that is rooted in moral or religious convictions. The core message here is, people in non-monogamous relationships face a lot of discrimination. The potential repercussions of facing judgment are potent deterrents to disclosing a non-monogamous lifestyle. Legal issues such as custody disputes or social consequences like job loss in a conservative workplace are real fears that prevent many from being open about their relationship dynamics. Yet, the alternative, remaining silent, comes with its own set of challenges. Concealing meaningful relationships can create a divide between you, your family, and friends, and render your partners invisible in the larger context of your life. Additionally, the act of secrecy can weigh on your sense of integrity. If there's no shame in your actions, why the need to hide them? Deciding whether to reveal your non-monogamous relationships is a personal decision that must balance the potential risks against the desire for openness. If you opt for disclosure, it's prudent to have a plan. Consider who among your acquaintances, family, and professional circles should be informed and decide who to approach first. It might be more strategic to begin with those whom you trust deeply, such as a best friend or sibling. Anticipate tough inquiries and be ready for varied reactions, from genuine concern to outright disapproval. Depending on the recipient, providing information in writing first might allow them time to process before engaging in a more in-depth conversation. Most importantly, surround yourself with a support network that fully embraces your life choices. This fortified social backing will be invaluable as you navigate the complexities that may arise from these vulnerable divulgements. Part 8. Redefining Family Through the Lens of Polyamory. There's a prevalent worry that non-monogamy might destabilize the family structure, which is commonly seen as two parents of opposite sexes and their children. Yet the context and definition of family have transformed substantially over time. The contemporary nuclear family is a relatively new concept. In the past, multi-generational households supporting one another were the norm. In contrast, today's parents often face the challenge of juggling all domestic responsibilities on their own. The essential point here is polyamorous relationships can transform our family structures. Polyamory introduces the possibility of expanding our notion of family, creating support networks that may revolve around shared passions or form tribes of committed individuals. These networks could offer similar, or even enhanced, support structures found in extended kin groups. Despite concerns about confusing children with multiple parental figures, it's worth noting that children today already navigate a variety of blended family scenarios. The modern landscape includes step-parents and half-siblings as part of the family mosaic. In a polyamorous setting, having additional adults contributing to the household can lighten the load for everyone, cultivating a nurturing environment. Nevertheless, although children can be incredibly adaptable and accepting, societal rigidity often poses challenges. Kids in non-traditional families might face probing questions or even prejudice from those with more rigid views on family. For polyamorous parents, engaging with external institutions, schools, places of worship, sports organizations requires careful deliberation on how much to reveal concerning their personal lives. It's necessary to evaluate the openness of one's community. Could there be negative consequences for the children? Such considerations are crucial when deciding how, or if, to explain the family's unique dynamic to children. If a decision is made to share details about the nature of the relationships, it's essential to guide children on privacy boundaries and prepare them for potential encounters with negative attitudes. In reimagining the concept of family, polyamory proposes a return to a broader support system. While navigating the complexities of modern acceptance and individual children's capacity to understand and cope with unconventional family units. Final summary. We've been cocooned in a societal fairy tale that glorifies monogamy as the sole natural and virtuous option for our romantic lives. However, peeling back the layers reveals a contrasting reality. Monogamous relationships often labor under immense pressure, the fissures of which are exposed in high divorce rates and the widespread prevalence of infidelity. Key insights paint a vivid picture. The monolithic structure of monogamy is not the universal panacea we've been conditioned to believe it is. The notion that a single person can embody the entirety of our emotional, intellectual, and sexual desires is not just unrealistic, but a recipe for stress within relationships. By stepping into the world of non-monogamy, individuals are challenged to sharpen their communication prowess and foster self-awareness. It's about creating a space where personal desires can surface and be acknowledged without fear of judgment or betrayal. Non-monogamy isn't an easy path. It requires constant work, a willingness to address and overcome jealousy, and the creation of sacred agreements that breed trust among all individuals involved. Ultimately, exploring non-monogamous relationships is about allowing ourselves and our partners the freedom to uncover hidden facets of our personalities and sexualities. It invites us to redefine the confines of commitment, trust, and love, offering a different lens through which to view relationships, family, and ultimately, happiness. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought-provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.